Merry Christmas, strangers.
Merry Christmas, strangers.
Welcome to another episode, a surprise, quote unquote, surprise episode. I feel like most of you
most
knew
of
this
them
was
probably
happening.
knew it was coming.
Yes, this
I
is
might have even told a couple people that it was coming.
Our Christmas special. I'm Krista Kringle. And with
I was
me,
Curdy Kloss.
Curdy Kloss?
That's what I was, I think, last Christmas.
Really? I was going to say
Yep.
Curdy Kane.
Curdy
I
Kane.
prefer Kurt.
Curdy Kane is the name I dance under.
Okay. So, just an FYI, we are not the only people at the school today. There's a bunch of kids here.
Yeah.
And they're in the next room.
Directly next to us. So
if you hear weird, strange children's voices, it's not ghosts. It's actual small children.
Maybe it'll add to the Christmassy feel. Like
Sure.
we have a house full of guests.
Yeah,
or something.
exactly.
So no, just Merry Christmas. Hope you guys are having a good holiday so far. And it's weird to say that because
it's like 3 weeks away.
Yeah, it's like 3 weeks away. And like Christmas isn't even like really a thought yet for me, but it's coming up super quick.
It totally is for me. My house is I've decked the halls.
You have decked the halls.
Yes. And
I did too. I put in my pine scented air freshener, and that's the extent of my
nice.
That's the extent of my holiday decorations.
I have like a quarter of my presents bought. I still have more to buy. And candy to make. So
I am a flat broke because of my job stuff, so I don't know what I'm going to do.
You know what? A good gift, guys, are ornaments. Ornaments
Yeah, they are.
usually only cost a few bucks, and
Except I don't have a tree.
but buy them for other people.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I always feel like an ornament is a good Christmas gift
But
because
then what
it's
if you tell
Christmassy.
everybody that and they buy me ornaments and I don't even have a tree?
You're gonna have to buy a tree.
I'll have to buy a tree.
So, but I'm just saying, if you're on a budget and you want to buy gifts for people, ornaments are a good idea.
Yeah, they are.
Because they're cheap.
They are.
So, all right, that was Christmas Corner with
Christmas
Kurt
Corner
and
with Kurt and Krista.
Housekeeping. I do have a question I need to answer from Facebook. Do you want to do that now, or should we save that to the end?
Save that for the end.
Okay.
Because when we do listener questions.
Okay.
Want to give shout outs to our newest strangers since our final episode, and those are Taryn Rayberg, Brandon Harris, and Rex Hawley. Thank you guys so much for joining the strangers. Three since.
Wow, we had like 18 last time.
I know. We go through weird, and a couple people have asked me why we don't promote ourselves more and do stuff like that. And we've talked about that in the final episode that we kind of don't want to. We kind of like where we are now.
Yeah.
Bridget actually sent me a link. I don't remember what the site was, but it showed like our ranking in like different countries.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where did she find that?
I don't remember.
I want to know how to do that.
I don't remember. I want to say that we were actually pretty good in Sweden.
Oh, right.
So we're big with the Swedish community, which is awesome. Yeah, but I'll send you that after the
Okay, yeah, I want to see that.
After the show.
That's pretty cool.
Do we have any other housekeeping?
Probably
that we can't remember.
I should really write this stuff down.
That's what next season is for. These are building seasons. These are just building seasons. Next season, we're going to knock it out of the park.
People wonder why we don't promote ourselves.
Exactly.
Because I can't even remember housekeeping from week to week.
I don't think we have any. We have a poll right now, or not a poll, but we have a thread in the strangers about what topics you guys are interested in that we could use for the season opener next season.
Yeah.
And once, I think like at the end of Monday, I'll see which ones got a lot of votes, and then the day or two after, I'll have a poll up in the strangers where you can vote for whichever one you want. I thought we
a lot of really great suggestions.
Yeah, a lot of really great suggestions, but I think we should just veto all of them and just have the first episode nothing but jokes from the pickle book.
Oh my god,
I think
that would be a sick joke.
That would be.
Oh man, I'd be mad if I were a listener.
Yeah, I would too. So I don't think we really have any other housekeeping. I know last year's Christmas episode, we talked a lot about our Christmas memories and stuff, but we kind of did that already. So I feel like we don't.
I can't make up new memories.
I don't know. This Christmas is weird. It doesn't feel like Christmas. I don't know if it's because I'm so stressed with my job stuff or life in general.
I think the holidays are stressful for people in general, but
they are. Yeah. They are. I'm growing to hate the holidays. I really am. And that sucks.
I'm loving it right now. I'm actually enjoying it.
And it annoys me that we had so much snow and cold weather and stuff by now. I remember a couple of years ago, New Year's Day, I went for a walk on my trail with just a t-shirt on because it was so nice. Yeah. And now we're getting more snow Monday, and then they're saying,
are we really?
Yeah, they said 1 to 3 inches Monday, and then they said a high of 4 degrees on Wednesday. So that's going to be
cold.
Lovely.
It's definitely going to be cold. I need a little snow for Christmas, though. Last year, I remember we had barely a dusting, and I was really disappointed. And then we just got dumped on from there on out. Like a foot of snow at a time. It was insane.
So we're also here today recording a backup episode or two for
the dump
day.
that's coming.
And if it's going to be anything like it's been so far, it's going to be a rough winter, but we're going to see.
Yeah.
So on to our taste test.
Let's do it.
I tried to find something Christmassy, but I couldn't really find anything good that was
They didn't have any candy cane flavored Pringles.
No, they do. They have like sweet Pringles.
Oh, do they really?
Like cinnamon sugar, but I didn't see them.
Okay.
And I think they had a peppermint one, like a candy cane one, but I didn't see it.
I think cinnamon sugar would be really good.
Yeah, they were. I bought them. So I could not find anything Christmassy, so I figured, keeping in with our extensive amount of jerkies we've tried.
Oh, yeah. We haven't done a jerky in a while.
This one is interesting.
Okay.
It is...
banana jerky.
Which originally...
I'm excited.
Originally, I thought, okay, it's just going to be dried bananas, but it's not because it's got like garlic powder, onion powder, paprika.
That's unexpected.
Yeah, it is. So...
the brand name is Wild Joy Goods. I like it.
It's a cool bag.
And hey, if you're into all those trendy diet things, it's vegan, gluten-free, paleo.
And the back says, this jerky is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S.
Literally. Oh, boy. All right, should I rip this bad boy open?
Rip it open. I'm super curious to try these.
See how smooth that was?
It's a Christmas miracle.
Band-Aid. Ah, shoot. It's a Christmas miracle. Oh, okay. I always have to make some... Weird. It's weird looking.
Like I expected it to look like dried banana chips, and it doesn't.
It does not.
It looks like
rotten bananas that you left sit out too long.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
what it looks like. Let me see if I can get a picture.
Exactly.
Of that. Pull one out.
Wow, that does not look appetizing. They could have at least made it look.
It looks like a banana that
No, you know what this looks like?
What?
When I walk on my trail and there's a snake that has been dead for a while, it looks like a dead snake.
It kind of does. Or like when you're going to make banana bread.
Yeah.
You want your banana to kind of look like this.
This looks like a run-over piece of dog poop.
Oh, goodness. And we're going to eat it. Let me get another picture.
This is not what I expected.
No, but I bet it's going to be surprisingly good.
It smells weird, too. I'm not a fan of the smell.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay.
Right?
You ready?
I'm ready. Oh, boy.
It's not too bad. It's also not too good.
I don't like that.
There's something weird about it.
Oh, I don't like that. No.
No. It tastes like bad banana, like a banana that's gone bad.
It does. With like a hint
of garlic
with like
should not be in there.
If it was just a banana and sugar like that,
like cinnamon and sugar would have been great. Garlic, that's
and onion powder. Oh,
no, that's bad. I'm not even finishing it. Ugh, I don't even like the texture of it.
No. No.
Oh, what do we do with it?
Put it back. Oh, no.
I took a bite out of it, and you're going to put it back in the bag.
Well, I'm not going to take them home and eat these.
Oh, hell no.
We'll give them to the kids in the other room.
You were going to say that.
Merry Christmas, kids.
Make everyone
Santa
sick.
said you were bad this year. Oh, those are not good.
No. It's funny. I can say this because my husband doesn't listen unless I make him. But we're doing like a 12 days of Christmas thing where we're getting each other 12 gifts to put in our stockings. And I bought him this lump of coal candy. Nice. I'm pretty excited about it.
Nice. You should give him those.
Yeah, that'd be a cruel joke.
Oh, those are not.
No, they're gross.
The aftertaste is.
Yeah.
Out of 10?
A 2.
Okay, that's just what I was
Only
say.
because they taste like banana. Yeah, I love bananas.
They don't taste enough like banana. So I'm going to give it a 2 also. It is not pleasant.
They taste like, see, I love bananas, but I don't like banana flavored things. So, and they taste like a banana flavored.
I'm almost
you know
more
what I
the
mean?
opposite. I like banana flavored things, but I'm not a huge fan of bananas because they're kind of boring.
It's like root beer. I love root beer, but I can't handle root beer candy or anything that's flavored like root beer.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I can't imagine anything that you could do with that would be good.
I got to get that taste out of my mouth because that is horrible.
I'm guessing they actually need to have some gluten in them and possibly some of the other things that they say they're free of on here. Like maybe some sugar would be good.
I'm eating a piece of gum just because that was so bad.
Okay, that was gross. All right. Merry Christmas to us.
Yeah, I guess so. That was one of the worst jerkies we've tried, actually.
It was gross. I got excited when you said jerky.
I got excited because it was banana jerky.
Okay.
So much for my
You
excitement
health
for
food
that.
people need to...
That's what I get for getting excited about something.
Regroup rethink your banana jerky. Okay, moving on.
Moving on, I think we're on to our main story. I don't think we have anything else to talk about.
Nope.
I know last year it was kind of a shorter episode, but I think this one is going to be a full episode. I think this one might be a little longer. So we wanted to give you guys something so you could listen to us because we know it's a long break. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people yell about us taking a break so long. So I wanted to give you guys the pleasure of listening to us, I guess. That's our gift to you.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
Something. And these bananas if you want them.
Ugh.
So tonight's topic is the Rendlesham Forest UFO sighting.
So did we touch on this in
I
a former
think we
episode?
might have in the past. And this one is weird because I knew the basics of this one, but I like digging into it. And spoiler, I still don't know what I think because I have gone back and forth up until the moment that I drove here because I listened to a podcast about it on the way here. So I have gone back and forth and I literally don't know what to think.
So it's like the theories are...
There's two basic theories and that's, you know what those are going to be already.
It's a UFO? Or it's not a UFO.
Or it's nothing. You know, either it's a UFO / some military thing or nothing. And I just don't know what I believe. So we're going to see what you guys think. And this is kind of, I picked this for the Christmas episode because this took place at Christmas.
Oh, okay.
So
good. There's a tie-in.
There is a tie-in. I struggled to find a tie-in.
Random.
No. Next,
you can only do Krampus
next
so many
Christmas
times.
will probably be totally random because they're running out of Christmassy things. Rendlesham Forest is owned by the Forestry Commission and consists of about 5.8 square miles of coniferous plantations interspersed with broad-leaved belts and wetland areas. Okay. I copied that from Wikipedia. I didn't make it up.
Sounds like a woods.
It is located in the county of Suffolk, about 8 miles east of the town of Ipswich. In London, in England.
Okay.
The incident occurred in the vicinity of two former military bases, RAF Bentwaters, which is just to the north of the forest, and RAF Woodbridge, which extends into the forest from the west and is bounded by the forest on its northern and eastern edges. So there's two bases right there, and the woods is kind of in between them.
Okay.
And the Royal Air Force bases, so they're British bases, but at least Bentwaters, everybody that's involved in this one was American.
Oh,
There were American servicemen over there.
Okay.
At the time, both were being used by the United States Air Force and were under the command of Wing Commander Colonel Gordon E. Williams. The base commander was Colonel Ted Conrad, and his deputy was Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt. And you're going to hear a lot about Charles Halt. Halt's memo to the Ministry of Defense on the incident and his personal involvement in the second night of the sightings has given the case credibility. And this still shows up, like when I have UFO shows on randomly at home, this shows up a lot on the UFO shows. So the Rendlesham Forest, you'll also see it called the Bentwater sightings. Bentwater or Rendlesham Forest, but this shows up a lot in the UFO sightings and with good cause. I mean, you have military people that see this thing.
Right.
You know, so... Around 3 o'clock in the morning on December 26, 1980, Staff Sergeant Jim Peniston, the on-duty flight chief for the Woodbridge base, got a call from the security center telling him that Airman First Class Edward Cabansag, I think that's his name.
What is that?
Cabansag, Cabansag.
Sure.
Cabansag. Was on his way to get him. He was then instructed to meet up with two of the base's military police, Staff Sergeant Bud Steffens and Airman First Class John Burroughs. When they met, Steffens and Burroughs told Peniston that something had happened, that they had seen some strange lights over the forest. Peniston's immediate thought was that an aircraft might have went down in the woods, so he told Burroughs that they should go and investigate. Steffens told Peniston that it couldn't have been a crash because he saw the lights actually land. The group decided to go and see what it was, but Steffens was kind of freaked out, admittedly.
Yeah.
But still, I mean...
I'm not sure I'd go investigate.
If you assume it's a plane going down, wouldn't you go... I don't know. That just kind of surprised me that he decided...
I guess if you assumed it was a
decided
plane.
to stay behind.
Yeah.
Peniston, Cabansag, and Burroughs got into a vehicle and headed out into the forest. The three of them could see a light shining through the trees, and they got out of their vehicle and made their way into the woods to investigate. As they started walking towards the light, their radio started to go haywire. Never a good sign. You know that. So because of the radios, Peniston had Cabin Sag stay with the vehicle so he could act as a go-between for the soldiers and the base. As Peniston and Burroughs walked closer towards the light, they noticed that the animals in the woods and on a nearby farm seemed to be in a frenzied state. Another good sign, another not so good sign. Burroughs also heard what he said sounded like a woman screaming, which is weird. Walking up to the light, Peniston saw that it appeared to be a shiny, black, metallic, triangular craft of some kind about the size of a tank, like 10 feet long and around 7 feet high. The surface was completely smooth, with white light coming from the top and bottom of the craft, and red and blue lights flashing on the side of the craft. Peniston then took out a camera and took photos of the craft walking up to it. The ship appeared to be smooth and solid, with no signs of manufacturing like seams or rivets, other than what appeared to be some symbols on the surface. Peniston took out a pad of paper and sketched the craft and the symbols he saw on the surface of the craft. Peniston ran his hands along the surface and found it warm to the touch. When he touched the rougher surface of the symbols, Peniston said that everything went white. When his vision came back, Peniston said that the object had become a solid, bright white color. Then he said it slowly lifted itself 4 or 5 feet off the ground, made its way through some trees, rose towards the treetops, and then vanished.
Alrighty then.
Yeah.
Did it make any noise?
It sounded like it was pretty silent.
Okay.
But the part with him touching the symbols and everything going white, remember that, because that comes into play later.
Okay.
Some reports say that the men headed back to the base to be debriefed and were told in no uncertain terms to forget everything they saw. Peniston's report, which was written that night shortly after the incident, doesn't say anything about their encounter with the strange craft, but other reports that I read, other articles that I read, said the men returned to the base and reported what happened to their commanding officer, Lieutenant Fred Burren, who told them that the nearby radar base had reported a strange blip on their radar the night before. Burren's report, dated January 2nd, 1981, confirms Burroughs and Peniston's sighting. By this point, strange lights over Rendlesham had also been reported to the police, so there's been a lot of reports of lights. The thing with investigating this one, though, is that there's so many discrepancies in articles about dates and times and who saw what and what happened.
What year was this?
This was 1980.
Okay.
Yeah, Christmas 1980.
That's tough.
But
it sounds like people were having experiences not just on one night, but like...
Yeah, but there's more coming too.
Oh, okay.
So that was the first night when Peniston when they saw this craft and Peniston touched it and they saw the craft lift up off the ground and take off. The next morning, Burroughs, Peniston, and 2 police officers went back into the woods to find the location of the encounter from the previous night. Coming to the area they believed the event happened, they found broken branches everywhere and 3 indentations on the ground. Peniston was 100% convinced that the indentations were from the craft, but the police officers that were there with them believed they were just rabbit burrows. The 3 indentations did form an equilateral triangle when measured, but the soldiers and the policemen continued to disagree about their origin. I couldn't get a solid account of this, but by some reports, 20 hours after the first sighting, 18-year-old Lori Bowen was on duty guarding the east gate when she witnessed a ball of orange-red light descend into the forest northwards of her guard post. 5 of her colleagues also reportedly witnessed a strange light, but I've only seen that on 1 or 2 sites, and then it was always like phrased exactly the same, like one site might have made it up, but then other sites copied and pasted it and put it. So I can't verify that, but that did show up in some of the accounts. Colonel Charles Halt, the base commander, had been away from the base on Christmas Day, so he hadn't been there during the original sighting, but he had been filled in on his return to the base. On the night of December 27th, during the base Christmas party, Lieutenant Bruce England came in and told Halt that the UFO had returned. Halt immediately put together a group and said that he was going to lead the group out into the woods in an attempt to debunk whatever was going on because he was starting to get annoyed at this distraction that he felt was nonsense. The soldiers made their way into the woods with Halt leading them. Halt had a small handheld tape recorder with him which he used to record the events of the search. This recording is what would come to be known as the Halt tape. As they entered the woods, their radio equipment and the portable lights they were using to search the woods started malfunctioning. Halt and his men made their way to the landing site from the previous sighting 2 nights before. At the site, they measured abnormal amounts of radiation near the impressions in the ground. At this point, a smaller group that had broken off alerted Halt's group that they were seeing what looked like a dancing red light inside of a strange fog. Then the light started heading towards Halt's group. And this is all on audio, so we are going to play the audio clip. I took out the first part. The first part is them like checking out the trees and stuff around the area and like walking to the area. But I started this clip right where they start to see this light. So without any further ado, this is the clip from the Halt tape.
Broken pine branches underground underneath. Looks like some of them came off about 15 to 20 feet up. Some small branches about an inch or less in diameter. 0148, we're hearing very strange sounds out of the farmer's barnyard animals. It's very, very active, making an awful lot of noise.
Yes, in a pigmentation.
You just saw a light where? Wait, no, slow down. Where?
Right in this position here, straight ahead, in between the tree. There it is again. Watch, straight ahead off my flashlight there, sir. There it is.
Hey, I see it too. What is it?
We don't know, sir.
So, can I get some? Yeah, it's a strange, small red light. Looks to be out maybe a quarter to half mile, maybe further out. I'm going to switch off it. The light is gone now. It was approximately 120 degrees from the site.
Again.
Is it back again?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's the flashlight set. Let's move out to the edge of the clearing so we can get a better look at it. See if you can get the star scope on it. The light's still there, and all the barnyard animals have gotten quiet now. Yeah, we're heading about 110 to 120 degrees from the site out through to the clearing now. Still getting a reading on the meter. About 2 clicks. Meter's jumped 3 to 4 clicks, getting stronger.
Now it's stopped. Now it's coming up. Hold up. There we go. It's about approximately 4 foot off the ground. It's coming test of 110 degrees.
All right, just turn the meter off. You got to say that again. About 4 feet off the ground, about 110 degrees, getting a reading of about 4 clicks.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but
Now it's dying.
no, it's not. I think it's something other than a ground. I think it's something variable
Got
here.
the tree right over.
We just frightened the first night bird we've seen. We're about 150 or 200 yards from the site. Everything else is just deathly calm. There's no doubt about it. There's some type of strange flashing red light ahead.
It's yellow.
I saw a yellow tinge in it too. Weird. It appears to be maybe moving a little bit this way. It's brighter than it has been.
Yellow.
It's coming this way. It is definitely coming this way. Pieces of it are shooting off. There is no doubt about it. This is weird.
To the left.
Yeah, definitely moving left.
Two lights. One light to the front,
Okay.
one light to the left.
Keep the flashlights off. There's something very, very strange. Keep the headset on. See if it gets any stronger. Okay. Give us a rundown.
Notation that this is on a beta reading, too.
It's on the beta reading?
Beta
Okay.
shield has been removed.
Okay. Pieces are falling off it again.
And it just moved to the right.
Yeah.
Off to the right.
Strange. Oh, well, why don't you go to the left? Let's approach to the edge of the woods up there. Can you want to do it without lights? Let's do it carefully. Come on. Okay, we're looking at the thing. We're probably about 200 to 300 yards away. It looks like an eye winking at you. It's still moving from side to side. And when you put the star scope on it, it sort of has a hollow center, or a dark center. It's like the pupil of an eye looking at you and winking. And the flash is so bright to the star scope that it almost burns your eye. We passed the farmer's house and across in the next field. Now we have multiple sightings of up to 5 lights with a similar shape and all, but they seem to be steady now rather than a pulsating or glow with a red flash. We just crossed the creek, and we're getting what kind of readings now? Getting through 3 good clicks on the meter, and we're seeing strange lights in the sky. 244, we're at the far side of the second farmer's field, and made sighting again about 110 degrees. This looks like it's clear out to the coast. It's right on the horizon. Moves about a bit and flashes from time to time. Still steady or red in color. Also, after negative readings in the center of the field, we're picking up slight readings, 4 or 5 clicks now on the meter. 305, we see strange strobe-like flashes to the rather sporadic, but there's definitely something, some kind of phenomenon. 305, at about 10 degrees horizon directly north, we've got 2 strange objects, half-moon shape, dancing about with colored lights on them. About Guessed to be about 5 to 10 miles out, maybe less. The half moons have now turned into full circles. As though there was an eclipse or something there for a minute or two. 03:15 now, we've got an object about 10 degrees directly south, 10 degrees off the horizon. And the ones to the north are moving, one's moving away from us. It's moving out fast.
This one on the right taking away, too.
Yeah, we're both heading north. Hey, here he comes from the south. He's coming toward us now. Now we're observing what appears to be a beam coming down to the ground. This is unreal. 3:30, or 03:30, and the objects are still in the sky, although the one to the south looks like it's losing a little bit of altitude. We're turning around and heading back toward the base. The object to the south is still beaming down lights to the ground. 0400 hours, one object still hovering over Woodbridge Base at about 5 to 10 degrees off the horizon, still moving erratic and similar lights and beaming down as earlier.
Wow.
So yeah,
it's interesting hearing them getting kind of like excited and
A
nervous.
couple times during it, you can tell that he's like seriously kind of like
freaked out
a little bit. So, and you know what makes this kind of credible is that these aren't hillbillies making moonshine in the woods. These are soldiers that have been taught to deal with stuff like this. So that is kind of a famous recording. The Halt tape is kind of a famous recording in UFO circles. After a few hours, the object seemed to break up into smaller pieces, then vanish. For several hours after, small white lights were witnessed in the sky. After this incident, it said that intelligence agencies came to conduct interviews with the soldiers. According to an article on theunredacted.com called, quote, The Christmas Invasion, quote, Jim Peniston recalls being repeatedly grilled about the incident by the Air Force's Office of Intelligence, even being administered truth drug sodium pentothal on one occasion. Sergeant Adrian Bustinza claims he was interrogated for hours in an underground part of the base by unnamed agents, possibly from the CIA. Ed Cabansag, who had accompanied Burroughs and Peniston on the first night of activity, said he was ordered to sign a false statement that concealed what he really saw. Wing Commander Charles Gabriel, in charge of all United States Air Force forces in Europe, made an unprecedented impromptu visit to the bases, seizing much of Halt's evidence. Halt was told that the United States had no official interest in the incident.
But we're going to seize all your evidence.
Yeah, exactly. Unsure exactly what to do, and with jurisdiction over the matter officially shared between the U.S. and the U.K., Halt was told to hand the matter over to the British Ministry of Defense. Halt's January 13th, 1981 memo entitled, quote, Unexplained Lights, summarized the event of the weekend and was sent to the British government, and that's where things ended. When Peniston went to get the photographs he took of the craft from the base's photo lab, he was told that there weren't any photos because they didn't turn out. Of course. Things at the base then returned to normal, and for a little while it was like that. Then, in 1983, British tabloid News of the World obtained the Halt memo and ran a story on it, and the story blew up. This is the Halt memo. Subject, unexplained lights. Number 1, early in the morning of December 27th, 1980, approximately 0300 hours, 2 USAF security police patrolmen saw unusual lights outside the back gate at Woodbridge. Thinking an aircraft might have crashed or been forced down, they called for permission to go outside the gate to investigate. The individuals reported seeing a strange glowing object in the forest. The object was described as being metallic in appearance and triangular in shape, approximately 2 to 3 meters across the base and approximately 2 meters high. It illuminated the entire forest with a white light. The object itself had a pulsing red light on top and banks of blue lights underneath. The object was either hovering or on legs, and there's a lot of discrepancies in this because earlier it said that there was white light on the top, and this one is saying that there was a red light on the top.
Yep.
At this time, the animals on a nearby farm went into a frenzy. The object was briefly sighted approximately an hour later near the back gate. Number 2, the next day, 3 depressions, 1.5 inches deep and 7 inches in diameter, were found where the object had been sighted on the ground. The following night, December 29th, the area was checked for radiation. Beta/gamma readings of 0.1 milliroentgens were recorded with peak readings in the 3 depressions and near the crater of the triangle formed by the 3 depressions. A nearby tree had moderate readings on the side of the tree facing towards the 3 depressions. So the tree's side that was facing where the craft was believed to be had higher levels of radiation.
Okay.
Number 3, later in the night, a red sun-like object was seen through the trees. It moved about and pulsed. At one point, it appeared to throw off glowing particles and then broke into 5 separate white objects and disappeared. Immediately thereafter, 3 star-like objects were noticed in the sky. 2 objects to the north and 1 to the south, all of which were about 10 degrees off of the horizon. These objects moved rapidly in sharp angular movements and displayed red, green, and blue lights.
I mean, that's definitely common behavior in a sighting, is something that breaks into smaller...
And I don't know why. I never understood that. The objects to the north appeared to be elliptical through power lens. They then turned to full circles. The objects in the north remained in the sky for an hour or more. The object to the south was visible for 2 to 3 hours and beamed down a stream of light from time to time. Numerous individuals, including the undersigned, witnessed the events in paragraphs 2 and 3. Signed, Charles Halt, Deputy Base Commander. So the Halt memo is like a big document in ufology. Is an important document. You see a lot of talk about the Halt tape and the Halt memo. In 2010, Peniston appeared on the show Ancient Aliens and revealed something that he had not discussed before. And this is where I kind of lose it a little bit.
Okay.
Jim Peniston believes in the moment that he touched the glyphs and everything went white, a message was implanted in his mind. He says, quote, "The communication of binary codes was accomplished when I physically touched the craft's glyphs, which were located on the outside skin of the craft. It activated a technology which is unknown to me and apparently to everyone else too. This technology then communicated a series of 1s and 0s to me. The communication transfer was accomplished within minutes. There was an area of about 15 feet which surrounded the outside of the craft. This area I will call the bubble. For within the bubble, static electricity pulsed upon my clothes, skin, and hair. Also an appearance of slowing of time. The air seemed dead, not transmitting any sound. The next day, while looking through my notebook, the glyphs in particular, I had the codes running through my head since the incident. I had a feeling to write them down, so I did, and immediately after finishing them, the codes were gone from my mind. I was finally at rest with them. The notebook was then put away and retired to a box." Peniston, Linda Moulton Howe, and several other people managed to decipher much of the message, revealing that it was a simple binary code. The message in part reads, and I'm picking some of this because there were just a lot of gibberish in there too.
Okay.
Quote, "Exploration of humanity. Continuous for planetary advancement. 4th coordinate continuous." And then there's a list of coordinates that include the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Nazca Lines in Peru, and Sedona, Arizona. And then the phrase "eyes of your eyes." And then it has the words "origin point," which has coordinates that point to High Brazil, which is a fascinating topic on its own and will be in a future episode. High Brazil is said to be a legendary phantom island that's said to exist off the coast of Ireland. So basically this is saying that that's where this was transmitted from, was this mysterious phantom island. And then it ends with the phrase "origin year 8100." That this message came from the year 8100.
Gosh. Wow, okay.
Yeah. So Peniston believes that the craft they saw that night was not alien in nature, but rather it was us from our future. So there's that.
Okay.
You look kind of...
I don't. To me, aliens are more plausible than time travel. I mean, I know time travel is possible,
time travel,
but I don't know that to make it happen is... We just don't have that kind of technology to do that. Maybe someday we will, obviously, but...
But I remember I was super interested in this case, and then when I saw the stuff about the binary message being beamed into his head, it was kind of like, especially the stuff that was written sounds kind of hokey sci-fi.
But is that how something that doesn't really grasp your language very well would communicate with you too?
Possibly.
I don't know.
You're kind of believing this? You're kind of buying the...
It's not the first time I've heard of someone getting odd messages from aliens, though. You know what I mean?
True. I don't know why.
It's not like a
I don't know
new
why
thing.
I'm so skeptical about that, but this is kind of where
it did take it over the top.
It did.
It went from sort of like an ordinary, sort of plausible, credible sighting to okay, now we're getting a little hokey.
Yeah, because on one hand, I feel like we have the tape, which to me is very legit, and I believe that they're seeing something that's really freaking them out. But on the other hand, we got the binary download into his head, which, and high Brazil and these coordinates of the Pyramid of Giza and all that just kind of lost me with that.
Yeah, it does.
So I don't know.
It makes it a little hooey.
But those are that's basically what happened.
Okay.
Like I said, there's a lot of discrepancies in articles I've read. Some say this, some say this. But this is mostly the gist of what had happened. That first night, I don't remember who it was, Peniston and somebody else went out, and that's when they saw it, and that's when they touched, I think Burroughs. It was Peniston and Burroughs went out, and they saw the craft, touched it, and then it was like 2 nights later when Halt went out with another party, and that's when they saw all these strange lights in the woods. Mm-hmm. So now we get to our theories, and there's basically 2 theories.
Okay. How many sub-theories are there?
Not really
usually
any.
like 100 sub-theories.
No, there's just basically 2 theories. And
okay.
First theory, it was really an alien craft or some kind of military technology we didn't know about. But that doesn't really make sense because by now...
Those witnesses were mostly military.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on that the soldiers themselves don't know about, even if you're a higher up soldier. But I feel like if that was some sort of craft, that was almost 40 years ago, so we would know by now what that was.
Yeah.
So I think if anything, I think it was an alien craft. I don't think it was military technology of any kind.
Okay.
But going with this theory that it really was an alien craft, there were a lot of sightings of strange lights in the sky over those few days.
And similar sightings.
And I hear a lot that there are still weird things that go on in that forest. Like there's something off about that area. Mm-hmm. In 2011, the UK released thousands of previously classified UFO documents, but the ones pertaining to the Rendlesham Forest sightings had somehow mysteriously vanished. And I mean, that to me makes it
suspicious.
It makes it credible that it really was a UFO
Somebody
sighting.
made it disappear.
His photos disappeared, or they mysteriously didn't turn out. Lens cap was on, whatever.
Right. Right.
In a July 21st, 2015 article called, quote, "Retired Air Force Colonel Claims New Evidence Will Blow the Lid Off Rendlesham UFO Sighting," Halt says, quote, I know it's a long title. Halt says, quote, "The military has nothing to do with it other than the cover-up, but I can tell you there is some type of superior intelligence that can change size, change shape, do funny things. What I saw, I'm firmly convinced didn't have anything that we know or could relate to inside of it. Maybe they're not a being, as we know. Maybe they're just an entity or just an intelligence, and we can't relate to it at all."
Maybe it's AI.
It could be. That's a good point. Halt says he eventually obtained signed sworn statements after many years from air traffic controllers who were on duty during the 1980 Bentwaters events. He says, quote, "They saw the object go across their scope, a 60-mile scope, in 2 or 3 seconds, thousands of miles an hour," he told the BBC. "It came back across their scopes again, stopped near the water tower. They observed it. They watched it go over into the forest where we were." And he does have these signed statements that people that were doing the air traffic controllers saw.
Okay.
They had weird readings on the radar that there was something zooming around out there.
Yeah.
It was only after years passed and the air traffic controllers retired that they decided to tell Halt about what they saw on their radar scope in 1980. Halt says, quote, "They told me that they knew anytime that an air traffic controller reported a UFO, they got decertified. So they said nothing," which makes sense. Like if you see something and you go around spouting off you saw a UFO, you're going to get fired.
Probably. Although that's sad.
It is sad, but it's true. I mean, that's one of the reasons that pilots don't record or don't report a lot of UFO sightings, because you're going to get ridiculed. Mm-hmm. It's like a double-edged sword. If you don't report it, you're covering it up. If you do report it, you're going to have people calling you crazy.
Yep.
Or you're going to be bombarded by UFO nuts wanting to talk to you about it. So which is
that's true.
Maybe it's not a bad idea to shut up about it. I can totally understand that. Peter Hill Norton, a former British 5-star Navy admiral and chief of the defense staff and a member of the House of Lords, so he's kind of he's not just a Boy Scout. He said in a letter to Junior Defense Minister John Gilbert, quote, "My position, both privately and publicly, expressed over the last dozen years or so, is that there are only 2 possibilities. Either A, an intrusion into our airspace and a landing by an unidentified craft took place at Rendlesham as described, or B, the deputy commander of an operational nuclear-armed U.S. Air Force base in England and a large number of his enlisted men were either hallucinating or lying." So I totally agree with that. I mean, he.
I don't believe everybody would be hallucinating.
No.
Even if something like that were to happen, the odds of everyone hallucinating the same thing is like impossible, I would think.
It is. And enough people saw this and have come forward and talked about it. Right. That something happened. I mean, they saw something.
Yeah.
Whether it was a UFO, I don't know.
A UFO is simply an unidentified flying object, though.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's an alien craft.
I'm gonna say right now that up until my drive here, I was more with theory number 2 than I was with theory number 1.
That it wasn't anything?
No. Because on the way here, and I'm kind of annoyed about this, right before I went to bed last night, I found a podcast. I think it's called The Unexplained, and it's from London. Mm-hmm. They interviewed John Burroughs, who was one of the people that were there. He was with Peniston that first night, and they interviewed him. So I was super excited to listen to that. So I listened to that on the drive here. And now I kind of am flip-flop back to thinking that it was a UFO, because he talks about the craft. He talks about seeing it. He talks about other stuff. One thing he talked about that was really interesting that I wish I would have investigated more, but I didn't find out about it till last night, was he said that the night he was there the first night with Peniston, but the night that Halt was out there with all of his soldiers, he had gone back out there with another soldier because they wanted to go back and see if there was anything there. Mm-hmm. So they went back and they ended up running into Halt and his group in the woods. Mm-hmm. So then one of the lights kind of came down near them. So Halt had Burroughs and the other guy, I can't think of his name, go to see what this light was. And Burroughs says that there was a light. It was there in the woods like the craft was the first night when he was there. And he said he walked up to it, got engulfed in the light, and he doesn't remember anything. He doesn't remember anything at that point. But the guy that was with him had stayed back farther, and he said he saw Burroughs completely disappear. He said it was exactly like you get beamed out in Star Trek. He said he was there 1 second and all of a sudden shimmered and was gone.
And how long was he gone?
I don't remember. I don't remember if he said, but he was gone. And listening to him talk about this was just bizarre. He talked about that first night that there was some missing time and that they ended up a distance that they shouldn't have been able to get to in the amount of time.
That's creepy.
Yeah. So listening to that
missing
and
411 stuff.
Yeah. Listening to that kind of made me flip from thinking it was all mistaken identity to thinking maybe it really was a UFO.
I think they definitely saw something.
It amazes me how much listening to the person that went through the event recount what happened and hearing, I think you can usually tell when somebody's.
I think so too. Yeah, I agree. You can kind of tell when people are lying.
What I was having a hard time with was that the guy's voice is just like Magnum P.I. He sounds like Tom Selleck, and it kept throwing me off because I love the show Magnum P.I.
Yeah.
So that kept throwing me off, but it was really. It made me flip back towards thinking that it was something. But now, getting ahead of ourselves, theory number 2, it was all a case of mistaken identity.
Okay.
An article in The Guardian on January 5th, 1995, called, quote, "A Flashlight in the Forest," said, quote, "Soon after the news of the world story appeared, I went in search of local opinions about the case. I made contact by telephone with a forester named Vince Thurkettle, who lives within a mile of the alleged UFO landing site. Immediately, I was brought down to earth. He told me, quote, "I don't know of anyone around here who believes that anything strange happened that night." So what did he think the flashing light in Rendlesham Forest was? I was astonished by his reply. "It's the lighthouse," he said. And this is the big thing, is a lot of people think that they were seeing the light from the lighthouse.
Okay.
That lighthouse lies at Orford Ness on the Suffolk coast, 5 miles from the forest. Thurkettle plotted on a map the direction in which the airmen reported seeing their flashing UFO and found that they were looking straight into the lighthouse beam. Could this really be the answer? I visited the site with a camera crew from BBC TV's Breakfast Time program. On the way there, the cameraman was skeptical about the lighthouse theory. I didn't blame him. It was past midnight when Vince Thurkettle took us to the site of the alleged landing, and it felt spooky. The area had by now been cleared of trees as part of normal forest operations, but enough pines remained at the edge of the forest to give us a realistic idea of what the airmen saw that night. Sure enough, the lighthouse beam seemed to hover a few feet above ground level because Rendlesham Forest is higher than the coastline. The light seemed to move around as we moved, and it looked close, only a few hundred yards away among the trees. All this matched the airman's description of the UFO. The conclusion was clear. Had a real UFO been present as well as the lighthouse, the airman should have reported seeing 2 brilliant flashing lights among the trees, not one. But this is me talking, not the article, but they talk in the tape, you can hear them talk about multiple lights. Yeah. It's not just one light.
And crossing over a creek.
Yes, yeah.
A lighthouse light
exactly.
turns in a circle.
My report was shown the following morning on breakfast time, much to the dismay of UFO fanatics and the News of the World reporter. The lighthouse theory soon had its supporters and its detractors, but there were still too many questions for the case to be considered solved. For instance, what about those landing marks? Some weeks later, I returned to Rendlesham Forest in search of answers. The landing marks had long since been destroyed when the trees were felled, but I now knew an eyewitness who had seen them, Vince Thurkettle. He recalled for me his disappointment with what he saw. The 3 depressions were irregular in shape and did not form a triangle, he said. He recognized them as rabbit diggings, several months old and covered with a layer of fallen pine needles. They lay in an area surrounded by 70-foot-tall pine trees planted 10 feet to 15 feet apart, scarcely the place to land a 20-foot-wide spacecraft. He's making it bigger than it was, though, because they reported it as like a size of a tank, and he's making it 20 foot wide, which is kind of sketchy. The burn marks on the trees were axe cuts in the bark made by the foresters themselves as a sign that the trees were ready to be cut. I saw numerous examples in which the pine resin bubbling into the cut gives the impression of a burn. Additional information came from other eyewitnesses. The local police called to the scene by the Woodbridge Air Base. The police officers who visited the site reported that they saw no UFO, only the Orford Ness Lighthouse. I telephoned Dr. John Mason, who collects reports of such sightings for the British Astronomical. Oh boy. I telephoned Dr. John Mason, who collects reports of such sightings for the British Astronomical Association. He told me that shortly before 3 a.m. on December 26th, an exceptionally bright meteor, almost as bright as the full moon, had been seen over southern England. Dr. Mason confirmed that this meteor would have been visible to the airmen at Woodbridge as though something were crashing into the forest nearby. The time of the sighting matched that given in Colonel Halt's memo. Finally, I turned to the question of the radiation readings. I learned from the UK's National Radiological Protection Board that readings like those given in Colonel Halt's memo could be expected from natural sources of radiation such as cosmic rays and the Earth itself. In short, there was no unusual radiation at the site. So that's the article from the guy that's basically saying, no, it was...
How would they have not known about a meteor, though?
I don't know.
Meteorite or whatever.
I don't know. The British Ministry of Defence investigated the case and concluded that the lights from the lighthouse had been responsible for what was seen over the 2 nights in terms of lights.
To me, that's... We don't like what they saw or what they say they saw, so we're going to come up with some other sort of plausible explanation.
You know, that's basically what Burroughs said in the podcast I listened to. He's like, we knew the lighthouse. So it was not the lighthouse. A lighthouse does not shoot beams of light at the ground.
They don't travel.
It doesn't travel.
Distances.
It doesn't break up into multiple lights that flutter down to the ground. In the summer of 2003, a former USAF military policeman at Woodbridge, Kevin Condy, claimed on television and in the press that the Rendlesham Forest UFO case might have been sparked by a practical joke he staged in his police car to frighten the guard at the East Gate. Quote, there was this one guy at the back gate, and he was known to be a bit of a problem. He was always seeing things, Condy told the Daily Mail. It always turned out that it was just a star or something, so I decided to play a practical joke. Condy himself cannot remember the exact date, but from his description of the circumstances, including the weather conditions, it seems that it did not coincide with the Rendlesham sighting. Neither is it established that the guard he was trying to scare was one of those on duty at the time of the UFO sighting. Condy says that he drove along the Woodbridge runway, whereas the lights reported by the security guard were in the forest. Additionally, Condy was evidently not aware when he made his claim that the sighting stretched over 2 nights instead of 1 and involved lights that were nowhere near the airbase. However, Condy did say that maybe someone else copied his practical joke the night that it happened.
Let's grasp at straws while we're at it.
He said, in fact, the most good cop practical jokes don't get repeated. So, I don't know.
That doesn't sound plausible in any way.
And on the podcast on the way here, Burroughs kind of tore into him and said no. He said he wasn't there that night, And he said it was just a ridiculous statement, and he might even think it was disinformation. But because once somebody hears something like he said, once somebody hears something like that, it's the lighthouse or it's a guy playing practical jokes.
Yep.
The case is immediately written off. UFO researcher Russ Callahan discovered that the 67th Aerospace Rescue and Recovery Squadron was based at Woodbridge at the time of the incident. The ARRS was a completely separate unit, and each group probably wouldn't have knowledge about what the other was doing. This squadron was involved in the recovery of the command module capsules used during the Apollo moon missions, and during the 1980s, the recovery of the film used on those missions was sent back to Earth in capsules from spy satellites. The film from those spy satellites made entry back to Earth in a mini capsule that was recovered by helicopter once it landed, and the ARRS used a mock-up capsule for practice sessions. Mr. Callahan said he discovered that the ARRS did a practice run on Christmas Day, 1980, but that it had run into problems, and the chopper pilot dropped the capsule in Rendlesham Forest. They came back the next night to recover it. So basically they're saying that the craft that Burroughs and Peniston saw the first night was this mock-up craft of a capsule that they used to send the film down from spy satellites. So then you got...
Yeah, but would it...
Basically,
react
they're
the
saying
way it did?
Basically they're saying the first night the craft was seen, but it was a mock-up of a craft that group used as practice to retrieve film from spy satellites. That for some reason they dropped it in the woods that night and went back to get it the next day. And that's what Peniston and Burroughs saw, was this fake craft. And then the nights after that, when Halt went out, what they were seeing was the lighthouse and all that stuff.
Could you hear my eye roll
yes,
there?
I saw your eye roll. So I don't know.
Could they produce photos of this mock craft?
I think they have, but I did not come across them. So in June 2010, Halt signed a notarized statement that included this paragraph, quote, "I believe the objects that I saw at close quarters were extraterrestrial in origin, and that the security services of both the United States and the United Kingdom have attempted, both then and now, to subvert the significance of what occurred at Rendlesham Forest and Bentwaters by the use of well-practiced methods of disinformation." Yep. So then somebody asked his superior to comment on Halt's statement, and that was Colonel Conrad, and Colonel Conrad said, quote, "Colonel Halt can believe as he wishes. I've already disputed to some degree what he reported. However, he should be ashamed and embarrassed by his allegation that his country and England both conspired to deceive their citizens over this issue. He knows better."
The government has been conspiring to deceive us for...
Exactly. Halt said, quote, "I was a non-believer. I never really gave it a second thought before the incident. But I've got so much material from so many people, and I've talked to so many credible people that do not want their names used, that are in very influential positions, including some that are as high in the government as you can possibly get. I can tell you, we are not alone. I can guarantee you that." And according to a December 24th, 2015 article called, quote, "Christmas Lights, the inside story of one of the world's most notorious UFO sightings," the article says, quote, "A lot has changed over the past 35 years. The twin bases at Bentwaters and Woodbridge are shut down, replaced by a military museum in Bentwaters Park, a filming location used in the making of episodes of Top Gear, as well as the Hollywood blockbuster Furious 6. The UK Forestry Commission, which owns Rendlesham Forest, now operates a UFO walking trail there."
A UFO walking trail.
So, what do you think?
I think they saw something.
I do too.
Not any of the stupid explanations.
Up until this morning, I really thought it was just all a case of mistaken identity. Because I could kind of see that. I could kind of understand that say that they went out and they saw this practice craft. You're not going to know, if they didn't know that was going to be there, you're going to be like, what the hell? There's a UFO here.
But why would it have the effect that it had
I don't know. I don't know. And the indentations were not where it landed. It was rabbit burrows. And
would this mock craft give off radiation?
No, but the other article says that that's natural radiation that you get from the Earth and in that area. And then the night when Halt and his group went out, because they were so jumpy about what happened here, they were ready to jump at anything, and that's why any other night they would recognize the lighthouse as a lighthouse. But because they were jumpy this night, That I'm not saying I believe that, but I'm saying that's like the argument that people who think it was all mistaken identity say.
I just feel like these are trained military individuals.
Yeah, but that, you and I say that a lot.
Yeah.
But that's part of something called the authority fallacy, where because somebody is in a position of authority, you automatically feel like they
But this
have
is
better,
Air Force, right?
Yeah, like because someone's in a position of authority, they have better idea, or they are not as easily fooled as you and I are. And that's a very real thing.
You and
I say that all the time, though, because like when a
though.
police officer says he saw a UFO, we buy into it more. So I kind of understand that they're just as fallible as we are.
But I think they're more analytical and they're more apt to investigate
They're trained
something.
to deal with stuff like that. They're trained not to get spooked by seeing a light in the woods.
Like if a doctor saw a UFO, I'd be like, so what? He's a doctor. He doesn't know anything about UFOs.
A fighter pilot or a soldier saw a UFO.
Yeah,
I agree. Like I said, I've come around.
I know that's a real thing, but I think it makes sense in these situations.
Yeah, I agree. Like I was on board with it was all mistaken identity up until listening to Burroughs on that podcast where he's talking about how it was a really interesting podcast. Like it's never officially been stated, but it's widely believed that there were nuclear weapons at this base, that this was one of the bases that had nuclear weapons. And the interviewer asked Burroughs that, and he said, we sign lifetime documents that we can neither confirm nor deny anything. And, and then he kind of went on to say that UFOs, there's a lot of reports of UFOs being attracted to sites that had nuclear weapons, so it's possible. But then he said things are weird with him and Halt. He said like Halt he said what everybody needed to do, everybody that was there needs to get together and talk about what they saw, because everybody has different ideas about what they have seen. He says that the guy that he was there with that night remembers different things than he does. They were all hypnotized, and a lot of stuff came out under hypnosis, but like we've talked about, that's not always real accurate.
Well, and people who witness things. We just watched my husband and I watched a documentary on Netflix called Explained, and I think it's like The Brain Explained.
Yeah.
And it talked about how, like 9/11, how faulty our memories are of that day. That people, like this one example was this girl said that she was at a school that looked out over the river and she could see the smoke or whatever, and her mom was working in the city, and that was a memory that she was 100% sure of. And it turns out none of that was actually true.
Yep.
And it was like she must have seen stuff on TV that made her. So it's crazy how faulty our memories are.
It is. It's bad. It is bad. I mean, I've come across that where I remember something that didn't happen. Is it Mandela effect?
Yeah, no kidding.
Know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's another rabbit hole.
But he says that they all need to get together and compare notes and figure out what they all saw. But he says like Halt fights this. Halt wants nothing to do. Like Halt goes to a lot of conventions and talks a lot about it, but they said he's almost like getting together to nail down what really happened. And Burroughs actually won a large sum of money from the government because whatever happened to him that night gave him health issues. And they basically said, yes, whatever happened that night affected you, and gave him a huge chunk of money. But nobody can say what happened that affected him physically.
Right. I suppose just because he was on duty, they're responsible.
He says
for
that there was a lot of testing going on there. He said the lighthouse actually, nobody knew at the time, but they were experimenting with like electromagnetic waves and stuff to do like maybe radar things, that they were doing things from the lighthouse. And he says they were testing a lot of things in that area. So he said he's not 100% convinced that what he saw was alien. He says he thinks it might have been something that they were working on that got out of hand and affected him. But he did win a ton of money. So again, that podcast is called The Unexplained, and they've talked to Halt on there too. And I'd actually really like to listen to that, because this one now I'm like super interested in this, because there's just so much here that
it's got a conspiracy feel to it.
It's got a conspiracy feel to it. It's got the aliens. We have actual audio of them in the woods, which is really fascinating to me. Like, I love that audio.
Yeah.
That you can hear what they're seeing and going through. And they're talking about lights breaking off of the main light and shooting beams down at the ground and moving. And that's not a lighthouse.
Right.
You know, and they have all said, we're not dumb. We know where the lighthouse is. We have seen the lighthouse. It was not the lighthouse.
Yeah, that's like an insult to their intelligence to be like, oh, they were just seeing the lighthouse.
But then other people say they were jumpy because of the sightings the night, 2 nights before. So I don't know. I'm on board with thinking that
I think they saw something.
They saw something. Whether
I
or
think
not
it's
it was
unfortunate that all we have to go off of is eyewitness testimony. We have no evidence.
No, but there
anything.
might have been, the pictures were evidence. There might have been evidence that
but we'll never see
that
those.
we'll never see.
Yeah.
You know, and he says, Burrow says that he tries to get files all the time and they will not give him anything. They'll never give him anything. He says he doesn't think anybody will ever know what happened. You know, all we have, like you said, is to test the eyewitness. We have the audio, but you know,
which is basically just eyewitness
testimony. They sound so genuinely freaked out that I can't imagine it being the lighthouse that is causing that. You know, how many times does he say this is strange during the...
Well, and I've seen enough lighthouses to know they don't behave that way.
No, but also, you know, playing devil's advocate here, when you listen to him talk, and they talk about how the light is there 1 second, and then it's gone,
well,
and then
that's
it's
normal.
back. That's the lighthouse. That could be
revolving.
The lighthouse light revolving.
Yeah, but
so
not
I can see,
the way it moves.
No,
it
exactly.
wouldn't travel over the land
I can
the way
see
they were describing.
I can see how people think that they might have been seeing the lighthouse. But
in some of the points, not the whole encounter, though.
Yeah, like I said, now at this point, I'm kind of leaning towards they saw a legitimate craft. You know, but I don't know. I just have a hard time with buying the binary code downloaded into his head.
Yeah, I don't know.
But then when the other guy did legitimately say that he saw Burroughs disappear. I don't know. You know, again, I'm torn on this one. I really am. I lean towards it was a craft, but I don't know what to make of this.
I lean towards they definitely saw something and something happened, but we'll never know what it was.
No, exactly.
And I don't think it's any of the mundane explanations that everybody else is trying to explain it away with.
I agree 100%. So what do you guys think? Rendlesham sighting, was it an alien? Was it not? Was it just a lighthouse? What do you think it was?
Yeah. Cool.
So cool. I do like that. I do like that case.
Yeah, it's definitely
like this is going to be one of those ones that I end up investing a lot of time in on my time off because I'm really fascinated by this. I'd like to find out. I would love to like meet these guys, and I know they do go around on conventions and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Like Burroughs was on
his
his way
to
to
a speaking event or something.
Yeah, it would be cool. It would be neat to meet these guys. You know, so I don't know.
Cool.
What do you guys think? So now moving on, we had a gift sent to us by longtime stranger Jeremy. We're excited.
Is Jeremy Ritter?
Yeah, Ritter. I think Ritter.
I always say it wrong.
I always say Ritter too. I think it's Ritter.
Shoot,
Jeremy, let us know.
Sorry.
I know. I always in my
long-time listener whose last name we can't pronounce.
In my head, I always think Ritter, and I don't know why.
It's an Amazon box. I can tell by the tape that's closing it because I've ordered a lot of Amazon presents lately.
We'll give you the honors of opening it.
Can you give me something to open it
I give
with?
you my handy dandy multi-tool.
Like I'm not ripping it open with my bare hands. If he can get it open. If he can open his opening tool, we'll get this box open. Ooh. All right.
I seriously
Did you shake it around a lot?
My multi-tool?
No, the box.
Oh. No, but I spilled coffee on it trying to get into the building.
Oh, nice.
Watch it be something that's like totally coffee stained now.
Probably. Way to go, Kurt. I have to move my microphone. All right.
That multi-tool is so awesome. Apparently not at opening gifts.
Okay. Here, have that back.
He told me it was something for the studio.
I see bubble wrap.
There's bubble wrap.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Okay, look at this doll that's on here that Jeff brought. It's Annabelle.
We have a little tiny Annabelle.
We have a Krampus.
Wow.
Awesome. What are the odds of that?
That is
cool. So funny. Oh my God, he's like really cute. I have to take a picture. And here.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Yeah, we have a...
Here's another one. I can't see what it is.
Ooh. We have a... What are these called?
It says Pop Holidays. I don't know.
Vinyl? Are they pop dolls? Pop
Maybe?
figurines? We have a Pop Annabelle, which is creepy looking, and now we have the Pop Krampus.
Krampus, who's adorable.
Who is so cute. And we also have...
That is so cute. Oh my gosh. We need a shelf in here.
Guess what this is?
I'm never going to guess.
You'll guess. This is cute too. Guess.
Is it Bigfoot?
No, but you're close.
Close to Bigfoot?
Close-
Mothman? A little baby Mothman.
It is a cute little pop of
my
Mothman.
God. Look at the red eyes.
This is
so
awesome.
cute. I gotta
Thank
take
you
pictures.
so much, Jeremy. These are awesome.
These are so cool.
So apparently now we have a collection of the Pop figurines.
Did you see his teeth? Or not teeth. Oh my God, it's so cute.
He's super cute.
It is cute. Okay.
Like Krampus and Mothman should not be that cute.
No kidding, right? Here, can you push that one this way?
That's so funny that we had that Annabelle sitting here forever, and now we
Yes.
have 2 more of these.
Jeff brought it because he thought it'd be a fun addition to the studio.
We should put them in the window. No, because then people break in here and jack them.
Right. No, I think we need a shelf to. Oh, no, that ledge isn't big enough. We'll figure something out.
We'll figure something out.
We need a
These are
bookshelf or
awesome.
something.
Thank you
Yes,
so much,
Thank you so
Jeremy.
much. They're so
We
cute.
love these.
Oh my gosh. Adorable. Thank you.
We're going to have a nice little studio here.
We are. We just got to organize.
Yeah.
We're a little
I'm
unorganized.
kind of planning on coming here over our break and cleaning a little and organizing a little.
It is a
which is
bit
ironic because I don't even do
disheveled.
that in my apartment. So
Yeah.
we have a brand new coffee
Like we
maker.
could put stuff over there on that shelf
Yeah.
somehow, and it's
Yep.
just like full of junk.
Yeah, we went from being freezing in here to be like 500
It is
degrees.
so hot in here now.
Like I am literally going to be sitting here in nothing but my lucky podcasting underwear pretty soon.
I'm wearing a winter hat, but I'm not taking it off because my hair probably looks
You look
insane.
cute in a winter hat. I
Well,
like
thank you.
girls look super cute in winter hats.
Well, thank you.
I've always thought that.
And they're warm.
Okay, now we do have a question.
We have a couple questions.
We have one that was directed mostly towards you because
Yeah.
I've played them.
Do you want me
but-
to answer it?
Yes.
Okay. So I took screenshots of the question. I'm going to totally murder this guy's name, and I'm so sorry. Eric Remmer Guttlesrud?
Something like, yeah, Ghostrude?
Sure.
Yeah.
So he said, I got the, quote, exceeded 260 characters, unquote, message. No matter how few characters I used on Quome. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
So asking here instead. Krista, which Silent Hill game was your favorite and why? And did you get to try the playable trailer for the next Silent Hill game on PS4 before the project was scrapped and it was taken down? So to answer that first question the second question first, I don't have a PS4. I'm usually several years behind the new gaming system. When it comes out, I still have a PS3.
She just got a Super Nintendo.
I'm still playing Atari. No, so I didn't even know that Silent Hill had created anything new. I felt like they haven't released anything in a long time. So I wasn't even aware of it. Didn't get a chance to play it. So that answers that question. So I had to look up the order of the games because for a while they were like numbered, and then now they just kind of started going by like names, if that makes sense. So there's Silent Hill, Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 3, Silent Hill 4, The Room, then it's Origins, Homecoming, Shattered Memories, and Downpour.
God, I think I played the first 3, but I think that's all I've played.
So I've played 1, 2, 3, 4, The Room, Homecoming, and Downpour. Downpour is the most recent one that I've played. I think even last year maybe I played it. So the first one, if you're familiar, it was really groundbreaking because for me it was like I didn't even know the horror genre existed in video games. So there were jump scares, and even the graphics are kind of crappy to today's standard. It was just really interesting. It was a really dark, creepy game with puzzles that you had to figure out. So I'm always going to love the first game. The second game was back at Silent Hill, but it was a different main character.
Was that the one with the male main character?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. The third one was the little girl.
Yes. Yep.
And she, like, part of it, she was in like a subway, and the bulk of the game I remember was between a mall and an amusement park.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think there was a movie, Silent Hill 2, the movie was kind of loosely based on that game.
The Silent Hill movie was...
The original movie was pretty good.
Freaky. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good. That was mostly based on the first movie.
Yep.
But I saw hints of other movies
Yeah.
or games. Sorry, it was based on the first game.
All I remember from the movie is that the main girl was one of my big actress crushes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and she's in
a lot of stuff.
She was in that one with Vin Diesel where she was the captain of the ship.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
I don't remember her name.
That's where the character Riddick came from.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't remember the name of it. It'll come to me. The Room was good. It mostly took place in like an apartment building from what I can remember. This is several years ago. Homecoming, unfortunately, I must have ordered it. It was a guy returning from the military home, I believe. And I didn't get to play much of it because my copy of the game was like, there was a glitch in it and I couldn't get past a certain part. So it's the only one that I've played that I never actually completed.
Never finished. And
Downpour is pretty good, but to me, they're not really even in Silent Hill anymore. And Downpour is a lot of running around this town, going in and out of businesses and houses. And there's like tons of monsters that come out of nowhere. So to answer the question, my favorite game is number 2. And it's funny because it's so far back. The graphics have gotten so much better. The game playing has gotten so much better.
Yep.
But that one, for some reason, it's just if I could go back and play any of them, it would be that one. Probably because it's still in Silent Hill.
Yes.
I love the hospital.
Yes. That's my favorite too.
The hospital,
I remember 2 was my favorite.
Yeah.
Is that's the one with the dog ending? Like I absolutely love the dog ending. Mm-hmm. Did you ever see the dog ending?
Well, there's like 2 or 3
like hidden endings.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dog ending is just bizarre where there's this like locked door that you can never get in, and then you have to do all these things, and then you get a key to open the door, and then I think at the end of the game you open the door and you go in the door and his dog is in there. But he's sitting at the control panel with all these videos, and he's got like a little headphone on, and then the guy says something like, "I should have known you were behind this," and then the dog like kind of whimpers and goes up and like licks his face, and then it ends. But like the end is like a song made up out of sounds of dogs barking.
Yes. Oh my god.
And it's just so bizarre.
Wow, that's all coming back to me.
Yeah.
Isn't there an alien ending too?
Yeah, and then another ending in a later game has a secret ending where there's an alien with your dog. Your dog is with the aliens.
Oh so
I just remember thinking that was like just such a WTF ending that I just loved it, and I still like watching that on YouTube where the dog is sitting there, tapping buttons and on videos.
There's all these lights on this like dashboard or whatever. Yeah,
it's just so cute.
I think one of the reasons I like this game the most is because it was less fighting. I mean, you, of course, had stuff that you had to kill and things you had to get by. And it was where Pyramid Head first came onto the scene, and he is the creepiest boss of all of the Silent Hill monsters. But there was a lot of, like, you get to a house, you realize the door is locked. Okay, now you got to go find the key. Like, I love that stuff. I love having to find things and solve puzzles and figure out riddles and being able to just kind of run around and explore and things like that with minimal, like, having to fight stuff. So that's my favorite one. It's old school, but from what I was kind of reading online to refresh my memory, because it's been years since I played some of these, but number 2 is a lot of people's favorite. Probably for the same reason. So
it was a good game.
I would love for them to come out with a new one, just a new game, but have it be more of a throwback to how the series first started. Yeah.
So good question. Yeah. Should we do one from our bank, our question bank?
Do we actually have a bank of questions?
We do have a bank of questions. We have a couple saved up in there.
Oh, their food smells good.
I know.
I'm hungry.
We should just go grab something to eat.
Just walk over and grab a plate.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Hi, Kurt. Hi, Krista. Love the show. Thank you, mystery person. When was the last time you cried?
Oh.
That's kind of a depressing question. I feel like I have different levels of that.
Yeah, I mean,
Should I go first?
You're asking 2 empaths when the last time they cried was.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw a commercial yesterday that was sad.
There's that one that always makes me cry. The Amazon one with the dog. I think I've talked about that in another episode where that commercial literally makes me cry anytime I've seen
Amazon one with the dog.
Where the with the baby. I
need more.
It's from a couple years ago where this guy is playing with a new baby, with his baby, and you can see that dog wants to come and play, but every time he gets near...
Yeah. So they put a lion on him, a lion mane on him.
I'm getting teary just thinking about that. I literally cannot watch that commercial.
Because
it's not so much a commercial, but it's a song that plays too.
Oh. Well, it's just
and then how they start the song up again at the end when the baby's reaching for the dog.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cry.
He's getting all verklempt.
I'm gonna cry just thinking about it.
There's another one where a girl is in the hospital, obviously getting some kind of treatment, And instead of giving her another infusion or whatever, they bring a therapy dog in, and her reaction to that dog, it just, my heart.
Well, that's the thing is that what I'm going to say, the last time I like full on tear cried was a couple weeks ago when I played a video game. You know, I talked about, about that game, Life is Strange. I talked about that where you have to make that impossible choice at the end. But then I played the prologue to that where you're playing as younger versions of the characters from Life is Strange. It's called Before the Storm. It's the prologue before the game. And at the end, they have like the credits, you know, and it's happy because it's basically these two girls kind of like falling in love and all this stuff. And it's funny because on YouTube, there's a video of people's reaction playing this, like where they have the camera on them. And after the credits, there's this scene that's just this gut punch. And watching like people's reactions to that on YouTube, everybody does the same thing I did, where all of a sudden you bring your mouth to your hand to your mouth and you're like, no. And that was my last full on cry. But the last time I teared up was actually yesterday morning when I was writing the shout out for one of these upcoming,
really?
One of our upcoming backup episodes.
Okay.
And because it involves animals.
Oh, yeah.
It's, I don't want to say nothing.
Was it on the Facebook page?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I was looking for random shout-outs for the backup episodes because we don't really have any shout-outs for those. So, like the one for the Georgia Guidestones, I used the Russian soldier that didn't report the missiles coming that would have started World War III.
Yeah.
So I was kind of doing that on these. And one of these, I did a story about a dog, but I'm kind of bummed because I don't want to, this is going to probably give it away, but I thought this was kind of like not a well-known story, but I looked it up last night when I got done writing it, and it's actually going to be the topic of a Disney movie coming out on Disney Plus in like a week.
Okay.
So I thought it was like kind of an unknown story, but it turns out it's really not, but it's about a dog.
Okay.
And it's cute.
Okay. I guess the last time I cried was, and this is, I don't know, hopefully he won't mind. My husband's dad passed away.
I remember you telling me that.
A few weeks ago, maybe a month now. And it's a very complicated situation. So I didn't cry for that loss. I cried for just watching my husband struggle with it.
Yeah, that's the hard part. I mean, that's the worst thing is watching somebody you love go through that.
It's a very complicated situation. But literally, I'm sure I teared up. Yeah, I think I go to this website called, it's like Good News Network or something. Because I go to Yahoo and I end up reading stories that are so traumatic that I'm like, why do I do this to myself? So I go to this website instead that's Good News Network. And there were a couple things that totally had me tearing up because they were just so heartwarming.
I feel like right now, I don't know if it's the stress I'm under, but I'll cry at the drop of a hat right now.
This time of year.
I'm devastated right now by the news story about that country singer. I can't think of what her name is. Hang on. I will tell you in 1 second.
I haven't heard
her name is Kylie Ray Harris.
Okay.
She was killed in a car accident, and in her accident, she killed a high school girl that was driving a different car.
Okay.
She ran into that car.
I didn't even hear about this.
Yeah, she ran into the high school girl. The high school girl was coming home from her shift from work, and she ran into her car and killed her.
And so they were both killed?
They're both killed.
Oh, geez.
And it just came out this week that Kylie Ray Harris's blood alcohol content was 3 times the legal limit, and she was driving at like 110 miles an hour.
Oh my God.
And I knew this was going to happen, but I went to her Facebook page and everybody is writing like, I hope you rot in hell for what you did. And it, everybody is
it's really tragic, but her family doesn't deserve that.
That's exactly what it's like. I understand.
They lost someone too.
I understand what she did wasn't good, but I've done the same thing. I've driven when I was drunk and I shouldn't have. Yeah. People do stupid things, but
poor judgment.
Yeah, and it breaks my heart to think of her family going on and seeing people say that they hope she's burning in hell.
Right.
And people
That's
on her
cruel.
YouTube videos are just writing horrible things like, you deserve to die and stuff like that. And it breaks my heart to think of the family seeing this stuff.
I agree.
So and with all these shootings and everything, it's just horrible lately.
There's a lot of stuff going on in Wisconsin with that lately.
Yeah, it's like
school shootings.
I feel like the state of the world right now is just so bad.
I'm
so
trying
good
to,
news is always.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid the internet right now because I feel like a lot of my anxiety, things that I worry about, are from things I've picked up from reading stories on the internet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I didn't expose myself to that, I'd have a lot less anxiety in my life.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying to avoid that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
and I've been, like I said, I'm under a lot of stress, but I've just been in an unusually blah mood lately. And I realized that, I've been doing a lot of research for these episodes and stuff that a lot of times I sit at home and I have investigation discovery on and it's nonstop.
Murder.
Because I got to turn off Kelly and Ryan when that comes on because they drive me nuts. So I turn that off and the next one on my favorites is investigation discovery. So I turn it to that and it's nonstop all day. It's on in the background.
People murdering
and I feel
each other.
like that depresses me. So I need to get away from watching that stuff.
Watch Gilmore Girls. I'm telling you. Nothing bad happens on that show ever, and it's like the greatest show.
I should watch Gilmore
That literally is like my feel-good show because I can count on it to make me feel good.
My feel-good show is probably Scrubs. I love Scrubs.
Yeah, I feel like whatever lifts your spirits, even if it's your guilty pleasure, who cares? We need that right now.
Thanks for the sort of depressing question.
Yeah, that was a downer.
It was a downer. But hey, it's Christmas.
Yeah.
So...
It's that time of year when we all feel down.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not feeling that way. I have in years past just because of medical stuff going on in my family, but things are good this year, so I feel very uplifted this year.
Yeah, I'm just stressed because of job stuff. And I'm feeling
That's hard.
old, and like I said, this midlife crisis wall hit me hard this last 6 months. So a couple people said I should post like a picture without my cap on so they can see if I would look
the
good
shape
with
of your head.
Yeah, like if I would look good. But I don't know.
Hair grows back, Kurt.
It does.
And you wear a hat most of the time. So
like I said, unless it's a wedding or a funeral.
Just give it a shot. And if you don't like it, put a hat on. It's winter. Nobody's going to question it. I know. You don't like
friendly
change.
Terms.
Yeah, it's true.
So I think that's it. Do we got the deets?
Time for deets.
The deets are, you can email us at thestrangesessions@gmail.com. We are on Twitter at Strange Session without the last S. We are on Instagram at The Strange Sessions where Krista does really good stuff. You can send us, we got a postcard too from
Josh Arthurs.
Yes, thank you so much for the postcard, Josh. We got a postcard. I want to get our bigger whiteboard so we can put up more stuff. So thank you for the postcard. You can send postcards and snail mail to The Strange Sessions, P.O. Box 434, Manitowoc, Wisconsin, 54221-0434. And you can call our lonely Christmas hotline at 920-443-9602.
And just to not end on a total downer, I'm going to read a pickle joke. This is a longer than usual one. Are you ready?
That's what she said.
And we are talking about pickles. Okay.
We are.
Ralph, I think we have to fire our new cook. Why, dear? She's so slow. This morning I asked her to dice some pickles and she still hasn't finished. Do you know why she's taking so long? Yes, she's drawing black dots on them.
Wow.
That's horrible.
Wow.
That
is
horrible. Should I do one more?
Do one more.
I'm doing one more.
It's Christmas.
This one has a nice illustration with it.
I love those illustrations.
Why does a pickle cross the road?
Why?
To get to the other side dish.
Okay.
That one was pretty good.
That's actually a little funny. We can end Christmas with that.
Yes. Merry Christmas.
So Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah.
Whatever else is out there.
Seinfeld one?
Oh, Festivus for the rest of us.
Festivus. Hate Seinfeld.
Feats of Strength.
But I know you like it.
I love it. Oh, I don't like it. I love it.
I know you do.
We're going to get a Festivus poll in here.
Oh, I don't want to. You probably have a lot of grievances against me.
None. I have no grievances against you.
And lastly, want to give a huge shout out to our good friend Jamie, who tweaked our theme music and our end of show music to include a couple little sleigh bells for this Christmas episode.
He Christmasified it.
He did hardcore Christamify it.
Sure.
Something like that.
Christamified it.
Christamified it. So thank you so much, Jamie. We love the holiday theme, and it will get used again.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Jamie.
So I think that's it. So Merry Christmas, Krista.
Merry Christmas, Kurt.
And Merry Christmas to all of you. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, stay strange.
This has been an Old School Media production, executive produced by Kirk Konechny. For more information and content, please visit strangesessions.com.